my name is Petra, and today I'm in Boston with my daughter Natasha, and we are excited to bring you episode 7 of our podcast YouTube channel all about things knitting.
Welcome to our new viewers, and thank you to our returning viewers. Hopefully I got my act together and did a fun little new intro. So hopefully you enjoyed that. And I just wanted to start off at the beginning. Thank you to everyone for some of your feedback and comments on our last episode. So we're gonna start adding in just some facts about what I do with the hand lettering, some stuff that's going on in our lives, and hopefully share a few more specific things about some of our knitting projects to make this an interesting show for you. So one of those things, I think, for us, trying to be a little organized with our show notes and what our topics will be. So we're going to talk about what we're wearing, some FOs, some whips, some dream knitting. I'll put in the ink part of this, which will be about some of the hand lettering pens I use, and then just some personal chit chat. Did we want to say anything else at the beginning?
Yes, I just want to say a couple of shout outs. So I did mention previously that I'm originally from the Czech Republic, and my dad's cousin Alenka, ahoj Alenko, zase, watches in the Czech Republic, but she doesn't speak English. So she asked her 13-year-old grandson to do the translating, and he said this is really boring because it's all about knitting.
She has her 13. Oh my gosh!
Which
I wonder if we could do.
Was really funny and cute. And then another really special hello to Jindřiško Ahoy. She lives in Switzerland, a Czech friend of my mom's, but she speaks and understands English, German, French, Czech. She's an amazing linguist.
Oh, that's cool.
So special shout out to everyone else that watches.
Yeah, we've got on the West Coast we have Shirley over in Seattle. Hi Shirley. And I think we just did a FaceTime with my granddad over in England, and my cousin-in-law Ben, his mom watches. So hello to everyone in England too.
Hello Beverly. Yeah.
So yeah, let's get into what we're wearing. Do you want to start? Because yours is festive.
Oh yes, so I am wearing the Shifty by Andrea Mowry, and I knitted as an Advent sweater last year. So I think we talked about our Advents last week, and last year was the first year that my local knitting group and I made Advents together, and we were able to do a little bit of color management with them. So I got a mostly purple advent calendar, and I just basically used whatever ball I opened up the day to add to the Shifty. I did try to match the arms a little bit, so maybe.
And you did a fun little bit of red on the cuff, so you have it on the cuff and on the hem too.
Yeah, and the red did come in my advent calendar. So this was really a fun knit. I would just try to knit through the 10-gram mini every day. Natasha will insert a picture. We're sitting on the floor right now, and if I get up, it's going to be hard for me to get that down.
Yeah, I wanted to have a little bit of festiveness back here, so I just have a few decorations. I haven't gotten the full tree. I live on the 5th floor of an apartment building, and bringing a tree up and down is quite a feat. We've done it once, and it was just a lot. So I found other ways to be festive, like with my knitting fairy lights up here, and so I have some other things scattered around, but that's why we're sitting here on the floor, so you can have a nice little background.
And just to go along with this Advent sweater that I made last year, I was making Advent socks. So I would first do the required number of rows on my socks, and then the rest was used in the sweater. And one of our viewers asked about, wear and tear on knitting. And so I made these socks last year. I wear them a lot. I wear my hand knit socks sort of as slippers at home. So I tend to wear them out here on the ball of the foot. And I did attempt some darning. It's not particularly neat here. I am improving, and I do have, I bought one of these darning eggs on Etsy. I think it was on Etsy. So this does help, and I'm definitely all about, you know, fixing knitwear and using it as long as possible. So I'm trying to improve my darning. But if you're interested in darning socks, I would highly recommend Fruity Knitting. Andrea is an amazing knitter, and she has a whole episode on how to mend socks so that they look really beautiful and are durable. So I would recommend that. I have a few socks to be darning, actually. So what are you wearing, Natasha?
Oh, sorry. I just want to say one more thing about darning. I haven't gotten it yet, but thought about getting you the Katrinkles darning kit, where she has the it's like laser cut, and it helps you kind of weave the strands as you darn and fix them. So that would be something cool to check out, because there's the darning egg method.
Yeah.
And then she has another tool I can link it below if anyone's interested in seeing how that works.
Oh, I might want to try that out.
I haven't worn through my hand knit socks in the same way you do. But if I do, I'd probably give them to you to mend. So maybe I really should get you this little darning kit and see if you like it.
Yeah, I would love that. There's Christmas and my birthday.
I know, right? I could just do it.
You could just do it.
I might just do that.
Okay, so tell us about your sweater, Natasha.
Okay, so this is the Watayuki, and I wanted to give a shout out to Jacqueline, who commented. She's a viewer over in Tokyo, and she told us that, let me see, I want to make sure I get this right. So Watayuki means large snowflakes in Japanese. So the kanji character for wata is cotton and yuki is snow. So she said that knitting my Watayuki sweater in soft white is perfect. So that was a really cool thing to learn. Thank you so much for sharing. So this pattern is by, let me make sure I have this right, Natsuko Ilda. Okay, so I think last time I had bound off the body and I was working on a sleeve. I think that's where I was at. And I had done the tubular bind off, but I kept trying it on as I was trying to figure out the length of my sleeve. And I have this habit of, when I get to the sleeves of a sweater, I kind of just stop paying attention to the pattern and just kind of try it on and just decrease. I have like a set number of, I'll decrease every 10 or whatever, and put a little, one of those light bulb stitch markers to make sure I do the double. So I kept trying on while I was working on the first sleeve and felt like it was just too short on the body. Like every time I put it on, I was like, I wish this was a little longer. So I said that to myself like 4 or 5 times, and then I was like, I gotta unpick this. So I unpicked it, and I made it like 2 inches longer, but I still did the fun detail that is in this sweater, where you're not increasing stitches, but you're just twisting them to start adding purl stitches, so you get this fun side panel. And I still did the broken rib. I didn't pursue with the tubular bind off on this. I just did.
Oh my gosh, Shirley will be disappointed.
I know, but after unpicking it, I really didn't want to do it again. So I did like the Jenny's super stretchy bind off, I think. Oh, you know what I did? I bound off just like the, I guess, normal way, where you just slip one stitch, you knit one, slip the stitch over, but I went up a needle size. So I did the ribbing in size 8, and I went up to size 9 to do it, so it wasn't going to be super tight.
Oh, that's a good easy way of doing it, yeah.
And then
it looks neat, Natasha.
Thanks. Yeah, I think it was fine. So a couple things that happened when I unpicked to where I had split for the sleeves, because it also felt a little too wide.
I know.
So it was too wide and too short.
And we kept saying, it's fine, it's fine.
But then I decided it wasn't fine. So I'm very, very happy that I went through the process of unpicking. So I unpicked a few of the raglan increases, but I was happy with the sleeve size. So I kept the sleeve size the same, but less stitches on the body. And then, I was knitting the body on size 10, but somehow when I started reknitting, I was using size 9. So my yoke was in size 10, and then I realized halfway through the second time with the body, I was using size 9, which I guess was okay, because I I wanted it to be a little bit slimmer anyway, but then
it's a tighter gauge.
It's a tighter gauge,
nice.
so you can't really tell that it's 10 up here and 9 down here.
No.
But then I still did my sleeves on size 10 because I didn't want them to be any tighter than what they already were. And then I used size 8 for the broken ribbing on the edge, and I just did very little for the cuff.
So you re-knit the sleeves as well?
I had only done half of one sleeve.
Oh, okay.
So then I had to do the neck. And I was toying around with if I wanted to do a fold over neckband. And I decided I was going to do that, but then I was actually driving back from a weekend trip with some friends that are kind of in my like quarantine pod. So we have a couple that John and I are friends with that we're like see every once in a while and are like pretty strict about the times we do see each other, about if we've been tested or who else we've seen. But we had done a weekend trip with them, and we were driving back, and I was in the back seat just like so excited to bind off this sweater. And I did the same bind off I did for the body, where I just did like one needle size up and slipped a stitch over, went to try it on, and it didn't fit over my head. So I will insert a funny photo here because I was in the back of the car with this like white sweater that was like not over my head, and you can like kind of see my face, and I was like, I just wanted this to be done. Like I'd redone it and everything. So then this is when I actually did do a tubular bind off on the neck.
So how did you unpick the neck? Because it was, you were knitting it top down.
So you picked up these stitches to do the neck after you finished.
Okay.
So after I finished the
see.
sleeves,
Okay.
I picked up the stitches. And then after I couldn't fit it over my head, I unpicked and decided not to do the fold over and just did a tubular bind off. I was like, all right, I'm done. But then I blocked it, and this sweater is so warm but so light. So I am happy with the yarn. I ended up using 4.5 balls. I had to go get another ball. The only thing I'm slightly, I don't want to say disappointed, the stitch definition, and I don't know if this is user error or not, but like the stitch definition kind of is a little bit funky in places. And you can kind of see here, there's like a bit of a line. I'm hoping with some wear and maybe another block, it'll even out a little bit. I just feel like there's some kind of like gaps that happen, and I'm not really sure how. Do you see what I mean? How some things are a little bit more obvious of that. Just in comparison to other yarns and projects I work on, it's just a little uneven with the spacing of how the stitches lay.
So I think that's really partly a loose-ish gauge,
right?
And it's light and fluffy, and it will probably even out in time. And I don't know how long you soaked it, but maybe a long soak.
I think I did 35 minutes, and I normally do 20, but I'll have to. I'll block it again eventually. Oh, I know I'm talking a lot about this sweater, but one more thing. So the risks of a white sweater, right?
Oh, yes.
I am someone who spills, 3 to 4 times weekly. And I mean like a whole glass of water, a whole thing of tea. It's just part of my life. I do a lot of spilling. So I've been really nervous about this sweater. And the first time I wore it after it was blocked, we had ordered sushi. And so there was soy sauce involved. And I was like really careful eating. I should have just taken the sweater off to eat, whatever. So I was really
the bib.
Yeah, maybe I need some protective gear. So I went to throw the when you get sushi takeout and you have the little plastic thingies. So I went to throw those out in the garbage, and somehow the soy sauce became airborne, and out of the garbage, huge, a soy sauce explosion. And I literally gasped. John, my husband, thought I cut myself. So that's how my reaction was. And I saw the soy sauce, and it just kind of skimmed me. It got my legs, so my jeans got soy sauce on them, and then there was splatters all over the floor, but it missed the sweater. So I didn't care. I didn't care about the jeans. I didn't care about the floor, but I was just like, okay, I need to be a little bit more careful. And I don't know, soy sauce probably stains. I mean, it's dark brown on a white sweater, so there will be no red wine when I'm wearing this, and I guess no soy sauce.
No soy sauce.
So yeah, besides that, I'm loving it. And I just have a tank top on. It's not itchy at all. And again, this was the 3rd piece yarn. I don't think I actually have my label with me. but
You
I
showed it
showed it last time.
and you showed your
Yeah.
swatch, yeah.
Okay.
FOs, I think. That's
Yeah,
what we're
sorry,
wearing.
that was a lot, but a lot to say.
It's interesting.
Okay.
I only have...
You talk for a second.
Okay, so I only have one FO to show. I have done quite a bit of gift knitting actually this December, and a lot of the little things that I knitted have been packaged up and mailed, so I don't have any of those to show. I just have my my November sweater. I think I was very close to finishing it last time we filmed our last episode, and I have been wearing it a lot. Natasha will just put a picture up, but it's
Diddly-doo.
yeah, it's light, it's
Oh my god,
fluffy,
it's so soft.
and I wear it, you know, over other sweaters. It's definitely roomy. I keep saying I wish it was longer, but
I don't think it needed to be longer.
Natasha says it's fine. I've been out to dinner a couple of times where we sit outside with some close friends and it's been chilly, and I just put this on over another woolen sweater and a big shawl, and I've been perfectly warm and cozy.
And fashionable.
And fashionable, yeah, thank you. So I definitely would knit another one like this or similar, holding lace weight and some kind of mohair together. And I'm really happy with the twisted rib collar. I think the twisted rib just looks really nice one by one, and the detail on the sleeve, when I wear it over another sweater, it really pulls out and you can really see the detail. So I like the modifications. This was my modification on the classic, and the pattern is Espace Tricot, and I pretty much did size 2. My gauge, I did seem to knit looser and looser as I continued on with the body, and it's got a small split hem and it's a little bit longer at the back than the front. So yeah, it's a free pattern. Espace Tricot, I think they do all of their patterns free. So that's my one FO.
Nice.
Yeah.
Okay, so should I talk about a few of my FOs? I just have some small FOs. Let's see. I will start with
Oops, sorry.
these little hats. So I had gotten this yarn from Natalie down in the studio South Pensacola, and I showed this to a family friend, Georgie. She's 8 and she loves turquoise, so I showed her this yarn and I asked if she wanted a sweater or a hat, and she said a hat. So I made her this little hat. I really like how this yarn knit up. I didn't really follow a pattern. I cast on in quantities of 8. So I think I did 72 stitches. And then I did a quick reference for like age 8 to 12 hat sizes, and just kind of measured up from there, and then did a little pom-pom. It's a little loose and floppy, but
your pom-pom looks perfect.
The pom-pom's nice. I really tried to, it's super secure. I think it's just because it's kind of a big, heavy pom-pom, but I think it's like tight for me, so I think it's gonna be fine for an 8-year-old.
Yeah.
But when it's on, it's fine. So I think she will be happy with it. And then she loves American Girl dolls. She has Luciana, I think is her doll. Luciana. So I made a little hat for Luciana with a massive pom-pom.
And there's some pink in here.
So I ran out of, so I did the pom-pom with this. And then I didn't have a ton. I wanted to make sure it was going to be a full pom-pom.
Mm-hmm.
So I used just some tiny scraps I had in the pom-pom and a little pink for Luciana. And this, I followed a pattern. I looked up American Girl doll hat, and I think it was like cast for Aran weight and cast on 52 or 54 stitches, and just did a roll. I didn't do a ribbing or anything. It's just a rolled thing. And
cute.
Knit for whatever 3.5 inches or something, and then decreased. So that was pretty easy. So these are going to be Christmas presents for Georgie.
And you have a pom-pom maker, don't you? That's
how
you make these
so I
gorgeous
have a
pom-poms.
pom-pom maker. This was the large size and this was the small size, even though they kind of aren't that different and they're both kind of big, but I guess especially when the proportions of the hat are small. But
Cute.
Hopefully we'll be able to give those to her for Christmas, and I can add a photo of the two of them together.
Yeah, that would be cute.
Do you have some other FOs to share, or
No.
anything you want me to pop a photo of?
I do have some old FOs to share. Well, actually, just one. I wanted to talk about Zalballs. One of our viewer asks, what do you do with Zalballs, or what have you done with Zalballs?
Do you want to just remind people what the Zalballs are?
Okay, so this is a Zalball. It's yarn by Wool. It's a German company. I'm sorry, I've got the price tag on here.
It's okay, you can just flip it over.
We
talked about these in our first
Yeah.
episode. I remember.
Was it the first episode? Gosh,
I think
definitely.
so.
Okay.
Because you had gotten them at Driftwood Yarns,
That's
right?
right. We talked about them in our first episode. That's right. And I have been thinking about making the crazy striped sweater with these. So I've loved these. So this is a Zalball, and this is a crazy Zalball. So they make them more funky with marling. Yeah.
So this one is going to be stripy, and this one is marley.
So this one's stripy and marley.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay, got it.
So Wool is one of my favorite yarn companies. I've used a lot of their yarns.
What does Zalball translate to? Do we know?
Well, we will Google it, or
Yeah.
one of you will tell us if
Yeah.
it means something. Thank you. So I looked this up on, this is the wonderful thing about notes on Ravelry is you just have all this history. And one of the first things I made with a Zalball was this Wingspan scarf for Anna in 2013 when she was doing her semester in Prague. It might not show up on camera, but you can see this kind of gradation.
I think it'll show up.
Yeah, so this was a red version of
And how does one wear this?
of the blue. You just kind of
Get your hair out of the way.
So I gave it to Anna, and then I asked her to give it back to me because she doesn't really wear red very much, and I love red.
Am I doing this
So,
right?
Yeah.
I feel like this is very festive right now. I
Yeah,
feel like
actually-
a poinsettia.
You look a little bit like a poinsettia. So the Wingspan pattern, and there's many variations of it, I think would work really well for
I
the
don't know if I'm
Zalball.
doing this
Yeah, that looks
justice, but
That looks cute, Natasha. Another thing.
so this one will probably be a little bit more definitely be a stronger contrast. This one's a lot more subtle.
Yeah, but it ends up being.
And did you
pink.
use a whole ball?
I used pretty much a whole ball.
Mm.
Yeah. So another scarf that I made out of a Zalball, which I gave away. And I think it may have been this blue one. The pattern is called Windward, and Natasha will insert a picture of that by Heidi Kermeyer, if I'm pronouncing that correctly. And that is such a fun pattern to knit. It's a scarf, but you knit in all different kinds of directions, and any self-striping yarn would look really great in it. I've made two of them. One was from Noro Tayo, I think, and one was from a Zalball. So if you're looking for a project, a pretty cool scarf, so both of the Windward scarves I made, I actually gave to men. It's kind of a funky, cool scarf for men. I might make, now that I looked at the pattern, I'm thinking that I might make another one. And you can also make socks out of these, or just a plain scarf, and maybe even sweaters. So yeah, so that's the Zalball story.
Cool, thank you. So my other FOs, like I said, they're all small. I have done a few of the holiday charms.
That's Susan B. Anderson's pattern. Yeah.
So I have a
Gosh.
couple mittens. So these can be like little ornaments, and a couple stockings. The holiday charm set comes with patterns for these, and a little mini Christmas tree stuffy, and a sweater. But I've done a bunch of the Christmas trees, but I've given them away. So I actually don't have a full set for myself. So these are actually spoken for. I'm gonna send some of these away, but I really want to have a set for myself. So I'm gonna try and knit up a set for myself to have for Christmas. And the yarn I'm using, I actually swiped from you. I think this the Rauma PT2.
Yeah, which I bought before we went to Norway.
Yeah.
So can I just ask you before you move on, what is in this set? So it's a stocking and mittens?
And a Christmas tree and a little jumper.
Oh, okay.
So it's four different things. And I have not done the jumper, but I've done quite a few of the trees, but I've given them all away.
Okay. Yeah, there's a small sweater knit along going on. I think I'm blanking on the girl from England that does that podcast. She's been doing Vlogmas and knitting Advent sweaters, a little mini sweater every day.
I don't think I've seen it.
It's, oh my gosh.
It's Corner of Craft.
Corner of Craft.
Yeah.
Corner of Craft is making Hannah from Corner of Craft is making little sweaters every day. Yeah. Wow, so this is really nice, Natasha.
Yeah, so here and there, they're super quick. They're a little fiddly, so I have to be in the right mood to do them. But when I do, I can crank out a couple things.
So do you use double pointed needles for this or circular?
So,
or are they knit flat?
No, these are knit in the round. I'm using DPNs for the mittens for sure. I think I was using circulars for these.
Oh, I'm not very good with this tiny kind of knitting. I find
it definitely takes
fiddly.
A little bit of patience, but they're so cute when they're done.
Cute.
So those are my FOs.
Okay.
Shall we talk about some whips?
Yeah, let's, because I'm realizing I'm having a hard time multitasking, even though I'm just knitting a plain sock at the moment.
My poinsettia is falling off.
Oops. Okay, so here's my whip. This is part of Free Sock 2020. This is socks on a plane. They are the November socks.
This yarn is so nice.
So this yarn,
I love Tweedy yarn.
I bought at my Driftwood Yarns, my local yarn shop, and it's a new local dyer. She lives in New London.
Oh wow, that's only like 10 minutes from our house.
And I left the label at home, so I'll send Natasha a picture. She'll put a picture of the label here, and I can't even remember. I feel like King is in the name. I can picture the label in my head, and I haven't even put it in my Ravelry stash yet, but it is really nice yarn, really tweedy yarn. So and this is the first sock, and I decided to, since I've been darning socks, I decided to add this reinforcement into the toe with I've got some of these, which are also
is this German?
Yeah, made in Germany. And you just add it for the heels.
Fortissima Saka?
Yeah.
Put that.
Add it for heels and toes to make them
so it's
wear
really
longer.
Strong.
Yeah, strong. I mean, for me, I'd have to. My weakest part is here, as I mentioned. But these are going to be a gift, a Christmas gift. It might be the kind of thing where I give them one sock and say the other sock is in the making. If I can't finish them. Anyway. So that's my Free Sock 2020, and I'm just gonna continue on and say that I'm doing the December Free Sock 2020 are the Esther socks, and they're
oh my god, look how pretty these are. So are you using your Advent?
So I'm using my Advent for these, yeah, and then so this is the second sock. I'm actually.
Do you just need to Kitchener?
Yeah, I just need to Kitchener, but I wanted to speed along. Until about 2 days ago, I was actually staying on track and knitting my sock, knitting a section on the sock every day. And then with the rest of my Advents, I am making the Bohemian blanket. So I crochet a couple of squares. So 1 10-gram ball, I do my sock panel, and then I do 2 little squares. And so I've got my ball from Hohi here filled with my squares, no ends woven in yet, and since today's the 19th of December, I'm going to open my little Advent.
Okay, I should have brought mine over.
Oh, and it's a little bit boring today. It's black.
That's okay.
But you know what? That'll work.
Yeah.
Yeah. So
nice.
That's been my Advent knitting that does bring me joy at the end of every day, or sometimes if I'm listening to a seminar, I might work on these or bust out a couple of crochet squares.
Nice.
Yeah, I enjoy the Advent knitting ritual.
I am opening my Advents, but I have not committed to what I'm going to be making yet. That'll be something I cast on in January, or maybe like Christmas, between Christmas and New Year's or something like that, if something inspires me.
But you said you were thinking of maybe doing the bauble, one of
The
Stephen
bubble
West's.
cowl, one of Stephen West's, but
Oh,
I
yeah,
noticed
bubble.
that the bubble cowl is in DK, I think, and my Advent is in fingering.
Yeah.
So I haven't quite figured out if I want to do some adjusting with that or figure out a different fingering weight project. So not totally committed to the bubble cowl. I think those are fun, but I want to make sure I do something that will fit and I can adjust well. So I have to check out some people's projects and see if anyone has ventured to do that pattern in fingering or not.
Yeah, there might well be.
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to put this down. I think
Yeah, I'm not knitting on anything right now because I feel like I need to focus on what I'm doing. But actually,
Yeah.
but let's see. I have my dad's vest that I've been working on. So this is his vest by Church Mouse Yarn and Tees. And I haven't shown this in a long time. Last time I showed this, I was where's my little marker? I was down here. Here's the tiny little marker down here.
Oh gosh, you've done a lot of knitting, Natasha.
This is the back. So it's really hard to see because it's like curling in, but here's the side. So I've got the ribbing on the bottom. So it's knit in pieces and then seamed, and then you do a ribbing around the armhole. So I am on the front now, and I'm this far in the front. This is definitely not gonna be done in time for Christmas. And I think I am gonna send you home, Mom, with this just to measure against Dad. I'm a little worried it's gonna be too small, so I'm not knitting on it right now just in case I need to adjust. It's really hard to knit for other people when you
Sweaters
can't.
especially.
Sweaters when
it's a big commitment. Yeah.
Well, it's a big commitment, but you can't constantly try it on and measure. Even though schematics and patterns are super helpful and all of that, I find that when I'm knitting stuff for myself, I am constantly measuring it up against my body. If I can put it on, I try it on. Like, it's just, that's the beauty of making your own stuff, is you can use the pattern sometimes as a recipe to adjust for things you like. If you're someone who likes slightly longer sleeves or bracelet length or whatever, you can do that. If you like your sleeves to be looser, if you like things a little shorter, a little longer, whatever, you can adjust. And when you're knitting for someone else, you want to, especially because of the investment of the time and the yarn, you want it to fit and you want them to like it. So it's hard not to be with my dad to constantly measure. So it might be a little small, and if it is, I think I will be okay with unpicking to the armhole. I think that these decreases might be off, because also I am using a different gauge than the pattern, so I've been adjusting that a little bit and kind of compensating for that. So I might have just needed to be measuring it as I went. So I think if you take this, let me know how this fits, and then I will adjust accordingly. So I have made progress, but maybe not as much progress as I would have liked. And this is yarn I'm using that was from Norway, so it's nice and rustic.
That's the grocery store yarn, isn't it?
It's the grocery store yarn. Then other whips. Okay, the other whip I have isn't exactly a whip, but I think we have found
a swatch.
It's a swatch. I guess it could be an FO. So the Holst Super Soft, or the Holst yarn I have, I'm gonna keep for the gray, probably for a project for myself, and figure out something. Maybe the green will become a sweater for Anna, but I had originally ordered that green and gray to do a sweater for John, but we weren't into the swatch, and then I tried looking up a few patterns with that and just wasn't feeling it. And then John was looking at a sweater he really liked online, and it was this kind of like brown tweedy sweater, and it was like pretty expensive, and I was like, I can knit that. Let's make that sweater. Like, this is a sweater you wanted to buy. Let's find some brown tweed yarn and let's do it. So I went on the Knit Picks site on Black Friday and found this City Tweed DK. So you can see the nice tweedy bits in here. It is 55% merino wool, 25% superfine alpaca, 20% Donegal tweed.
Gosh.
So it's super soft. Even though there's alpaca in it, I'm not too worried about it being too, I think it will still hold its shape because there's enough wool in there, you know?
And the Donegal tweed, yeah. Oh my gosh, it's gorgeous.
So this has some really nice stitch definition. So you can see what I mean compared to how this is. But this is super soft. I haven't measured this swatch yet, but I have blocked it. And just to keep with the tweedy theme, the pattern I'm going to do, the tweedy sweater. Why I couldn't remember that. So it's by Dario Tubiana. Tubiana is the last name. And it was only published in September 2020. So it's in English and Italian. So I thought that was kind of cool to go along after I've done a pattern that was also in Japanese. Now I'm going over to Italy. Nice. I really liked the yarn that this sweater was in. Let me see if it works if I hold this up. I love that blue tweed with the pops of color, but unfortunately I couldn't find a place to order that yarn, so that's why we did a little bit of research, to show John of different types of tweed, and this ended up being the right weight for this pattern and a yarn that John liked, and the types of fiber I would want to knit with. So it just kind of worked out. So I think this is going to go a lot better than the other one. So far, so good. You know, we like the swatch. And it's a pattern that's knit in pieces. So I bought the pattern, I've got to measure, but I was trying to just get a couple small things done before I get this up. So this is going to be a whip that I will be working on. And that's kind of it. I mean, I'll work through some holiday charms. I might try and bang out some fingerless mitts for a last minute gift for someone or two. But I don't currently have a sweater on the needles for me. I think I'm gonna wait until after Christmas to figure out what to cast something on for myself. So
I just realized I do have another whip. John doesn't watch this podcast, does he?
No.
Okay, it's for my lovely son-in-law, and I am making him a hat.
Oh, he's in the other room. That's why she's being quiet.
And it's in another shoppable yarn. This is in silk, shoppable silk. So it's a silk merino blend.
Yeah, I'm gonna hold it a bit closer so you can see the pattern.
Navy. It's an interesting yarn. Actually, it's
cool.
kind
I think
of
he's really gonna like
worsted
this.
weight, and
he has a massive head, so
it's twisted rib again. I'm into the twisted rib these days, and it's Deco Grid is the pattern by Deco Grid Beanie by Benjamin Matthews Design. Yeah, it's actually a really cool pattern.
Yeah.
So it is a paid for pattern, but I'm enjoying making it. And then, yeah, I'm also hoping to still bust out a few last minute Christmas presents, mostly hats, I think.
Yeah, we all try and do that, right?
Yeah, we all try and do that. And I did buy Scandia's mystery mitten, colorwork mitten.
Oh,
but
wow, you have all these whips coming out of the woodwork.
But I have made almost no progress. I just never seem to have enough time in the day. I just cast on, and there's a Latvian braid. But I did select the yarn, and I'm using Norwegian yarn. So this will qualify for the rustic knit along that's going on. And 2 of these colors are used for a sweater.
Do you want to say where the rustic knit along is happening?
Oh, that's Knitting Traditions, Inga. She's
in Norway, right?
She's in Norway, yeah. She's hosting a rustic knit along.
Those are pretty colors together.
Mm-hmm. I think probably I'll make progress on this after Advent and after Christmas.
Yeah, there's a lot on the needles.
And I haven't looked ahead, so I have no idea what it looks like. I have all the pattern pieces. She releases a pattern or a section of the pattern every 4 or 5 days.
Oh, okay.
So I'm just going to enjoy it. I'm going to have a week and a half off work between Christmas and New Year, so I think I'll just enjoy this
Great.
during that period of time. And I think I might keep these mittens. And this is in my beautiful bag that Natasha bought me
Oh yeah.
a while ago. Yeah.
Okay, so any dream knitting?
Oh yeah, so I'm thinking of casting on a sweater on Christmas Eve for myself, and it's going to be one of two. It might be Andrea Mowry's Pink Fizz sweater pattern that
So that just came out, right?
I like there's a little bit of lace here, and I have some hedgehog fiber sport weight yarn that's actually kind of pinkish. I have 300 grams of that, so I think I would just knit it straight up without holding mohair with it. So that's one dream knitting. Or I might cast on a sweater out of the whole super soft yarn, and the pattern that I have in mind is a pattern by Skandia that she put out quite a long time ago. The name escapes me. It's one color, and then there's a very simple motif here. I think the pattern was first published in a magazine. So just one simple motif here and a plain sweater in the whole super soft, because I'm really enjoying sort of the light, airy sweaters instead of heavy worsted weight sweaters, of which I do have a couple.
Yeah.
And I forgot to say that when I was knitting this, it was the Advent yarn, but then I used gray, was held constantly throughout the sweater, and I used, I think, 2 shades of gray. I just used whatever gray fingering yarn I had in my stash.
Yeah, which you have a lot of.
Which I have a lot of, yeah. So I think that's the knitting part, and we're just going to talk a little bit about life stuff in the
Let me just say a few things about lettering.
Oh, lettering.
Before you get to that. So a little bit about some of the hand lettering that some of you may be interested in. I use what are called brush pens, and there are dozens and dozens of different types of pens. A lot of the best ones are actually Japanese, but there's varying widths of the tips, so I'll just open a few to show you. So you can see this one's a lot thicker, and it'll make for wider letters, and this is actually a metallic pen. But the way that I got started is with my friend Amelia. Quite a few years ago, we were seeing a lot of fun Instagram videos of people using these pens. I was actually with the Tombow dual brush pens that we saw first. I didn't grab any of those, but I will slowly pop in more and more details about lettering, so maybe next time I'll talk about the Tombows. And we just bought ourselves some and just kind of self-taught ourselves how to use these. A lot of people are like, oh, my handwriting's terrible, like I wouldn't be able to do this, but you would be surprised. My handwriting actually is terrible, my regular writing, especially because I feel like we don't do much of it anymore. Everything's on our computers. But the brush lettering is a completely different movement than regular writing with a pen or a pencil. So Amelia and I, we have our business called We're Into It, and back in the good old days when we could have in-person events, we taught brush lettering workshops.
In the before times?
In the before times. So people could sign up, and we would have them at local restaurants or other small businesses in the Boston and Cambridge area, and a 2-hour class about how to use these. And it's a lot of fun. I'm not going to go through all the specific details of how to use these right now. I might pop stuff in like as we continue to record, but I just wanted to share a few of the different types of pens. So these are the Pen Touch pen, and I'll drop a few links. These are Kuretake, and then these are Tombow. These are not the Tombow dual brush. These are the Fudenosuke, which I'm probably pronouncing all of these wrong, and I'm sorry. And I don't know if this is focusing very well. But these come in varying types of color sets. Some are packs of 8 or 12 and stuff like that. But I'll pop a little link, and I'll link to Amelia and I actually have a PDF that you can practice and teach yourself. But just a quick, very brief, broad stroke overview. If this is something you're interested in, message me and I can send you some more information. But honestly, anyone can pick this up, and it's just practice, you know. I'm sure all of us have had people say, you know, when we're knitting in public, as we do, oh, oh, I want to knit. I want to learn how to knit. I'm so bad at it. Or I've tried to do a scarf and I was so bad. But, this is very similar hobby or project. All it takes is a little bit of practice, continuous practice, and you'll pick it up right away. So I have fun where, I'll write my Christmas tags. Don't open this yet. So, I find little ways to do it every day. Well, not every single day, but I used to take a lot of notes in meetings at work with some of my pens. So that is a little bit about the ink part of Knit Ink. And I'll just continue to add in little bits here and there about hand lettering. And hopefully I did the fun intro that we recorded earlier today. Okay, so
nice.
Anything else about some life chatter?
I'll just say that I did take one of Natasha and Amelia's hand lettering classes a couple of years ago, and with 2 students that I had at the time, and they did really well. I did not do so well.
I think you caught on to some of it.
And I tried a little bit, but in my defense, I'll just say that I broke my index finger maybe a year or so before taking Natasha's class, and I just never really got the proper movement back, and I just blame that on not being able to do really well with the hand lettering. Plus, it's just I enjoy I do try it once in a while, at least to write some nice gift tags and so on. But for my everyday life, I actually really enjoy writing with a fountain pen, and I do use a fountain pen, and I still have an actual planner that I write in every day for work. So I probably have mentioned a lot that I work from home. I'm a scientist. I work for a pharmaceutical company in the preclinical space, and during a pandemic, it's been a really crazy time. So in an effort to do some moving and not go from bed to desk to sofa to bed every day, I wear one of these pedometer things, and I try to challenge myself to walk at least 10,000 steps a day. So the past week, my week started off really well. The weekends are easy. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, I would go out for 30 minutes in the middle of the day, and then early evening. But then it got really, really cold. It snowed. I was too busy, and Thursday, I did not even go outside the house. So I'm going to start again. We're going to go for a walk this evening. And then last night I drove up. It's about a 2-hour drive. I did do a little bit of walking yesterday before I drove. So that's my personal, I'm just trying to challenge myself to get out and walk. And Natasha said we should do a family challenge to
maybe in 2021. It's just, just to say a few things too, like you've been busy with science and I'm a graphic designer for a tech company that sells remote work software. So we've also been really, really busy, and I am grateful to be busy with work, but it's definitely a challenge to make time for yourself and separate work from home and stay active. It's been really hard, especially with it getting cold. So I was thinking maybe in 2021 we can just try and set up not a grueling challenge, but just something to keep us moving every day. So that's something that we are thinking about with our life stuff. And we'll add in a little bit. Maybe next time we can talk a little bit about what we're watching or reading or listening to. But right now, I guess it's going to be figuring out how we're going to be handling the holidays. They're definitely not going to be normal or the same, and that's okay. So we haven't quite figured exactly out what that's going to be. There will definitely be some video chatting. My mom and I are fortunate enough to see each other right now because we've both been very, very isolated. I'm not even going to the grocery store or anything. So not just seen a couple friends, but they've also been pretty isolated, and that was a couple weeks ago anyway. So so we're just trying to manage, being safe and keeping happy at the same time. which I'm sure many of you are going through as well. So yeah, that was a bit of a ramble at the end, but hopefully you can learn a little bit more about us and our lives as we continue to do these. So yeah, let us know if you have any questions, and if there's anything you'd like us to talk about next time. And I think, you know, if we do end up seeing each other around Christmas, we'll do another one around then. Hopefully we'll get another one out in 2020 before we get the 2021. I know we're all looking forward to that new year.
Yeah.
So until then, wash your hands, wash your needles.
Happy knitting. Enjoy your hobbies.
Bye.
Bye.